So the number one success factors is knowledge.
In our society, the highest paid people are those who know more about what they're doing than the average person. They know more of the critical facts and ideas and information and the skills than the average person in their field. As a result, they can make a more valuable contribution in a knowledge-based society, and they can live the best life possible. They are valued more, they're respected more, and ultimately they are paid more money and promoted more often because they have more education. The rule is that to earn more, you must learn more. If you want to increase your level of income and achieve the best life for yourself, you must increase your level of intellectual capital, and thereby the value of the knowledge component in what you are doing. And you must do it starting today. My friend Jim Rohn said that formal education will make you a living, but personal education will make you rich.
And knowledge is becoming obsolete at a more rapid rate today than ever before, so therefore you must be continually replenishing your knowledge or you're actually falling further behind. Pat Riley, the basketball coach, used to say, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And in terms of knowledge, if you're not continually upgrading your knowledge, the knowledge that you have is becoming useless over time. So here's a good question for you, is what one piece of knowledge would be most helpful to you in your career? What particular type of knowledge? Would it be marketing? Would it be sales? Would it be time management? Because you can't become good at everything, so you've got to pick your shots. You know, like the snipers say, one shot, one kill. What I have found is you don't try to learn a whole bunch of things. What you do is you say, what is the most valuable piece of knowledge or knowledge area that I need to upgrade my skills in? And whatever it is, you take that one subject and you major in that subject. You say, all right, for the next month, 3 months, year, I'm going to major in that subject. Now here's the second force multiplier, the second factor that increases your probability, and it's skill. Now knowledge, properly learned and practiced, turns into a skill. And today our skills are mental skills. We don't learn physical skills, we learn mental skills. And mental skills are ways of thinking and acting and making decisions and getting results. The critical factor in knowledge and skills is always results. It's always results. Now here's what we know, and it's important to point this out, is that if you want to be successful, you have to be in the top 10% in your field. I had dinner with a gentleman named Gary Becker about 2 years ago in Chicago, and he's a Nobel Prize winning economist, and he wrote an article in the Wall Street Journal, and he said, we don't have an income gap in America today. It's important to understand because the income gap is the big political thing. What we have is a skills gap. He said, it's like in a marketplace. You go into the marketplace or like an auction, and people with really good skills are being bid up. People, I want you, I'll hire you. And people with average skills or mediocre skills are just not really in demand. There's nobody demanding them.
This brings me to a quick story I wanted to tell you. Once upon a time, there was a nuclear power plant that was suffering severe mechanical difficulties. And this power plant, power generation was down by about 40%. I had a nuclear engineer in one of my courses. He said, based on what you told me, the plant would be losing about $1.2 to $1.3 million a day in electricity generation if it was off 40%. So that's kind of the numbers that the plant management was dealing with, and they couldn't find it. They did everything possible to find why is the plant slowing down. It was just running like sludge, if you like. And finally, they bit the bullet. They got a hold of their ego, and they called MIT and had them sent down one of the foremost nuclear power plant experts in the country. They came down, he came down, drove out to the plant, put on a white smock, nice gentleman, professorial, picked up a clipboard, and he began walking around this massive control room, taking notes and looking at the gauges and the barometers and amp meters. And afternoon of the second day, he said, that's the problem. And he got up in a chair and he took a big black marker out of his pocket and he put a big black X on the gauge. He said, that's it. He said, replace this apparatus and the whole plant will be back up to full power. Thank you very much. He put down his clipboard, took off his smock, thanked them for their time, drove back to the airport, caught his plane back to MIT. Well, they were all waiting. The engineering crew was waiting like runners at the gate for his judgment. Once he gave his judgment, wham, they all went together. They stripped it all down, and lo and behold, deep within this apparatus was a major mechanical malfunction that was not detectable from the outside. So they immediately went to work, they replaced it with all new equipment, put it all back together again, and assembled it, and then threw the switches, and the whole plant went up to full power. And they were so happy. They were high-fiving and cheering and patting each other on the back and so on. They were all happy. And they're all happy like this for another week until they received a bill from the consultant for services rendered, $10,000. Well, the general plant manager calls in the senior maintenance engineer and says, look at that. The guy comes out here, stands around for a couple of days, writes 1X on one gauge, and sends us a bill for $10,000. $10,000, I mean, that's outrageous. Yeah, we should make him itemize his account. Yeah, let's make him itemize his account. So the plant manager wrote back and said, dear sir, you know, with all due respect, all you did was write 1X on one gauge. $10,000 seems like an awful lot of money for that little amount of work. Could you please itemize your account in a little more detail? So about 10 days later, they got a new bill back. It said, for writing X on gauge, $1. For knowing which gauge to write X on, $9,999. In other words, it wasn't the amount of physical labor, and this certainly applies to your profession, it wasn't the amount of physical labor, it's the amount of brain work that went into doing this, the precision brain work.
So it's really important with knowledge and skill. Make a decision to get to be into the top 10%. And remember this, and this was a shocker for me because I got such bad grades in school, is nobody's better than you and nobody's smarter than you. Nobody's better than you, nobody's smarter than you. You have more brain power than you could use in 100 lifetimes. Don't ever, no matter what you got as grades in school, no matter how hard it's been for you to learn a subject, don't ever allow yourself to think that other people are smarter than you.
The third success factor for moving onward and upward in your life is by developing an ever-widening circle of contacts. You will find that every major change in your life is accompanied by a person or persons who either opens or closes doors for you. The possibility of your achieving the best life for you will be determined by the number of people who know you and like you and who are willing to help you. Now, in order to broaden your network of contacts, you must network continually at every opportunity. There seems to be a direct relationship between the number of people you know and how successful you are. Now, to network successfully, the simple strategy is this. When you meet a new person, ask them what they do, and then see if you can't find something that you can do for them. And the one thing that people like the most is if you can send them a customer. Many people who network are thinking, what can I get from this other person? Your strategy when you meet a new person who can be helpful to you is to think, what can I give to this person? What can I do for this person, and how quickly can I do it? That way you sow seeds of people who will be prepared to help you in the future.
So if you plant seeds, if you look for opportunities to help other people, then what will happen is it'll always come back to you. And just look for ways to give. I have a law which I began teaching many years ago. It's the more you give of yourself with no expectation of return, the more that you will get back from the most unexpected sources. So remember, nature says just sow, and nature will grow the crop.
One of the most important of the success factors, number 4, is money. Having money in the bank gives you greater freedom and the ability to take advantage of opportunities when they come along. If you're broke or in debt and an opportunity comes along, you have no options open to you. There's nothing that you can do. So having money makes you free. One of the most important things I ever learned in life is that you're only as free as your options. If you have no options, if you have to do whatever it is you're doing, you have no choice, you have no freedom. If you're stuck in a dead-end job that you can't leave because you have no money set aside, you have put a brake on your potential. You are locked in place and you have no option for moving forward. You can end up spinning your wheels and losing months and years of your time by the very fact that you have no choice but to accept whatever is being handed to you. But if you have money, we call this opportunity money. If you have money put aside, you can walk away from a bad job and you can take time to find exactly the right job for you. This idea of saving up money so that you are available to take opportunities has transformed many people's lives. Now, the fifth of these success factors that enables you to get far more done in a shorter period of time to dramatically accelerate your career is called simply good work habits. Your ability to increase your ROTI, or return on time invested, can enable you to accomplish vastly more in a shorter period of time than another person who is disorganized and sloppy. Unfortunately, most people are poor workers. They're unorganized, they're unfocused, and easily distracted. They work at about 50% of capacity. Sadly enough, they don't even seem to know how to work any differently. And this is a big problem today. Even if they wanted to, it's like speaking in a foreign language. They wouldn't know how to do it without first being taught. Now, to achieve success in every area of your life, you have to develop the habits of highly successful and hardworking people. To begin with, the foundations of good work habits can be summarized in 2 words: focus and concentration. Now, focus requires clarity concerning the desired results and the relative priority of each step that you need to take to achieve those results. When you think of focus, think of a photographer adjusting his lens to keep the key subject sharp in the center of the picture. To become a truly hardworking individual at work, you must be continually adjusting your lens to be sure that what you're working on is the most important thing you could be doing at the moment to achieve your most important goal. Successful people understand that the worst waste of time is doing something very well that need not be done at all. Now, concentration requires the ability to stay with a task until it's 100% complete. Successful people understand that they must work in a straight line to get from where they are to where they want to go without diversion or distraction. If you want to accomplish your goals, you must be sure that everything you do is taking you in that direction, and then develop good habits to get you there. This decision alone will dramatically increase the quality and quantity of what you get done every day, and soon enough, you will become one of the most successful people in your field. Now, there's several benefits from learning how to concentrate. First, important task completion is a source of energy and enthusiasm and self-esteem. On the other hand, failure to complete important tasks, or to complete them only partially, is not only a major source of stress, but it depletes your energy and your enthusiasm and your self-esteem. When you complete an important task, you experience a surge of energy and well-being. But when you work on an unimportant task, even if you complete it in a timely fashion, you get no feeling of satisfaction or personal reward at all. There's no payoff for completing low-level tasks. Disciplining yourself to concentrate on a job until it is finished gives you a feeling of confidence and competence and mastery. It develops you into a hard-working person, and it gives you an experience of self-control so that you feel that you're in charge of your own destiny.
Now, number 5 is
Honesty. Now, trust is the foundation of all relationships. When people know you and believe in you and are convinced that they can trust you to keep your word and do what you say you will do, they'll feel that they are far more likely to get the things they want through you, to get the things they want faster, sooner, and easier, and with greater certainty.
Now, in business, they say, what is the most powerful method of advertising ever discovered? Word of mouth. 85% of the sale, 85% of the success of a business is determined by word of mouth. And Theodore Levitt of the Harvard Business School said the most valuable asset that a company has is its reputation. Its reputation is how it is known to its customers. In other words, what do customers say about the company and the products and services after they have been exposed to them? I've just written a book called Now Build a Great Business. And the core of the book is a very simple principle that just sort of slapped me in the head like a big wet fish that after 30 years of studying. And the answer is, what is the key to success in business? 90% of your success will be determined by having a great product or service. And that's the word, great. It's a great product or service. Now, how do you know if you have a great product or service? How do you know? People say, this is a great product. This is a great company. These are great people. In other words, the number of times or the percentage of times that your customers, having been exposed to your product or service, spontaneously say, "This is a great product," determines your entire future. Now, saying that, and the reason I say that is because there's a lot of people who think, well, I can get by selling a mediocre Me Too product. I just have to find a gimmick to get people to buy it and then duck and run and find somebody else. But every single successful business looks upon this customer as a customer for life. And they know that the first sale is only the beginning of the process. And how they treat the customer in the first sale and how the customer responds determines whether or not the second sale takes place. And so I say the rule for success in business is to get them to come to you first rather than your competitors, get them to come to you again because they were so happy with the first experience, and get them to bring their friends. Come to you first, come again, bring their friends. And the critical thing is your reputation. You know, in the movie business, what they do is they spend $50 million producing a movie and $50 million advertising it to get people into the theaters the first week. Now what happens is that they can't spend $50 million for several weeks. So they've got to get people into the theaters so that people watch the movie and begin to tell their friends. And it's only when a movie gets legs, they call it gets legs, that people start to tell their friends, you got to see that movie, that the movie starts to become successful. Why? Because it's reputation. Everything is reputation. Now in your life and my life, your reputation is everything. Your character, your integrity is the most important thing you have. And one of the decisions that you make is you never compromise your integrity. Number 7 is creativity. And creativity, we find there's a direct relationship between how creative you are and how successful you are. With regard to creativity, there's a direct relationship between the number of ideas that you come up with to improve your life and how successful you'll be. So successful people are always looking for different things, for different ideas. How can we do it better, faster, cheaper, more conveniently? How can we help our customers, and so on. So they're constantly looking for better ways. And there's a relationship is between the quantity of ideas determines the quality. You know that 99% of business ideas don't work? Did you know that? It's a real shock. Does anybody here know what I'm talking about? Try this, try that, try this, try that, try this, try that, and nothing seems to work. And then you start to think, maybe there's something wrong with me. No, you just have to try a lot of things. And eventually, if you do it right, you'll eventually find the way that works. But you have to have lots and lots of ideas. Number 9.
Stay health-oriented. Think about your health most of the time. Think about eating less food and better food. Think about daily exercise. Think about getting lots of rest. Remember, to be successful in our competitive world, you need a lot of energy. To have a lot of energy, you've got to eat good foods, get lots of rest, and exercise all the time.
And the last thing I wanted to leave you with was today we have a need for speed. You've got to move fast. Because there's no time at all for people who just coast. There's only one direction in which you can coast, and that's downhill. So if you get a good idea, move quickly on it, move fast, try it out. Know that it won't work in most cases, so try it out, try something else, and try something else, and try something else. Is collect rejections and collect failures. See how many times you can fail on the road to success. Recognizing that you are a learning organism. And just like it's called the cybernetic organism, every time you do something, you get feedback, which makes you smarter, and it gives you ideas. And you try something, you get feedback, which makes you smarter. So you keep failing, and you keep failing in a forward direction. And even though it's at an unconscious level, you're getting better and better and smarter and quicker the more you fail.